Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of The MCR, Mac and me. My name's TJ. In this segment, I'd like to bounce off of our previous segment about Kamala Harris and the Democrats playing with the truth, playing with the facts, fudging the facts, half truths, half lies, out and out lies, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And to continue with examples of what we were attempting to discuss in the previous segment, I'd like to touch on her whole plagiarism issue that has been discovered. And you know, it kind of amazes me that there are people who almost make it their life's mission to see, whether or not an individual is plagiarized. For instance, I'm getting my information from the right scoop, okay? And I'll even confess to copy and pasting some of the material. There's a reason why I use that phrase, copy and paste.
Well, when you run for president of the United States, you better know somebody's going through your life with a fine-tooth comb. Let's say, for instance, that you had run against Alyssa Slotkin for the Senate. Do you think your cinnamon butter addiction wouldn't come out?
Well, if I wrote it down somewhere, probably.
Okay. I mean, there are people who know and will tell on you.
Yeah. In this Right Scoop article, it mentions, and he refers to him as plagiarism hunter, Dr. Stefan Weber, and then it says confirmed by Christopher Rufo. Okay. And so these two confirm that some of the stuff she has posted, and this is kind of amazing, actually. Not only plagiarism, if that weren't bad enough, copy and pasted.
Well, here's the difference between copy and pasting in the sense that you jokingly said you did it, and how she does it. When you copy and paste, you said you copied and paste. She copies and pastes and says it's hers.
And not just that, but I try to routinely identify my source too.
Right. Yeah, you're not claiming that these, I'm not going to recite the Gettysburg Address and say I wrote it.
Exactly. But she's copy and pasted from AP NBC News reports. She's copy and pasted from the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. She's copy and pasted from Wikipedia. Wikipedia.
Oh, that's a reliable source.
And of course, J.D. Vance had to mock her for it. J.D. Vance being quite the scholar himself, we'll say. But, when I heard about this, and I heard about this, by the time this segment airs, it'll be a week or so ago. But when I heard about this, and I'm going to mention a few news celebrity commentators that you'll hear on the radio or see video of. On my way to work, I listen to Hugh Hewitt. And as everyone knows, I'm a fan of Dan Bongino. Well, both Hugh Hewitt and Dan Bongino seem to think that this plagiarism was a really big deal. And one of the splitting of hairs I would have with Dan Bongino is it really? I mean, you know what? It's an affirmation of your assumption that she's a piece of excrement.
Well, perhaps Mr. Bongino is saying it ought to be, while you're saying, is it really?
Exactly. You know what? Splitting of hairs, we'll say. Yeah. And Hugh Hewitt was like, aha, blah blah, and
aha,
and I've always referred to Hugh Hewitt as the rhino's apologist, we'll say.
Well, but he is that.
It's almost like, and I'll say this: it ought to be a big deal, but to the person who's worried about how they're going to buy their groceries today, is it really a big deal? You see, right. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
Here's the thing: is anybody surprised by it? Because
wasn't.
They see her deceptions, her deceit on a daily basis, like we said in the last video. Her ads are full of deception and deceit.
Honestly, I kind of would have expected it from her. So, yeah, when I heard about it, my response was...
She's a big phony.
Yeah, my response was, it figures. but I wasn't, aha.
Well,
You
it
know what
was
I'm
such a
saying?
big deal in 1998 that Joe Biden, when he stole someone else's material, oh, and by the way, it was on more than the one occasion that they cited, he had to drop out of the presidential race over it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it was mentioned about how, you know, it's interesting how the vice president and the current president have both plagiarized, been caught plagiarizing. And so, clearly there's this issue of can they even think for themselves?
When you
You
say
know?
current president, do you mean Joe Biden or Barack Obama?
Oh, good
Yeah,
point there. I wouldn't be surprised if Obama plagiarized somewhere, but who knows?
yeah.
You know?
Another phony.
But you know, when I heard about the whole plagiarism thing, I wasn't surprised, and I didn't respond like we'll say some of the media elites might have, because back to what I said a little bit ago, you know, to someone who's got to go to the store today or the gas station today and make a purchase of some sort and get less for paying more, is plagiarism even going to matter? It ought,
Well,
it ought
it
to,
it,
but
it,
does
it
it?
ought it ought to, because as we pointed out, and this is why we did the video, let's point out their deceptions. Let's point out their deceit so people can see through that. And the only reason I think you could want to vote for her is because you think she's going to let you keep your ability to murder your baby, so you can
Yeah.
have inconsequential actions without results or
Sorry
without
about that, everyone.
consequences.
Sorry about that. That was Susie, our 12-year-old cat, who insisted on my attention there.
Yes.
But anyway, as we digress, that's all I really got for this segment. Just in some regard, more of the same old, same old. While it ought to matter to the person who's trying to just make it through life, doesn't matter.
Well, you
Isn't
know what?
as big a deal
When
as it
you
ought to
when
be.
when you go to the polls on November 5th, and please go and vote in person. Susie answered the question: is it heads or tails?
That's all we got for this one, and we'll catch you in the next segment. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for your support. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.